Splatoon is known for its competitive 4v4 gameplay, bringing people together to battle it out and see who are the best players in the world. But in the background, speedrunners have been competing against themselves to see who can beat the Splatoon 3 story mode as fast as possible. Currently, the record stands at a 5350 by Salt29yo. So how do these speedrunners take this 8.5 hour long campaign and complete it in under an hour? Let's find out. The timer starts as we enter the story mode, but before that, we have to do a little bit of preparation. In the character customization screen, we need to make sure that Lil Buddy has this haircut, as each Lil Buddy haircut actually affects egg loop positions and boss RNG. We also have to make sure we are in Inkopolis Plaza, the Splatoon 1 hub world, which means that technically this speedrun is pay to win. Speedrunners also enter the show as it's believed to save on load times, even though that hasn't yet been proven. Now that the run has actually started, we begin in the crater, aka Tutorial Island. The crater consists of 4 simplistic levels and a boss fight at the end, but even here, there are a lot of time saves. In level 2, speedrunners will paint the ground to charge up their special weapon, the Splashdown. This special sends you up into the air and then straight back down with a massive explosion. But instead of using that big explosion, speedrunners will purposely jump off the map and use the height gained from the splashdown to hit a checkpoint further into the level. Once respawning, they paint the wall, climb around, hit the boost panel and beat the level. What if I told you there's an even more insane skip in the crater? In level 3, speedrunners clip Lil Buddy into the box to turn on the ink rail without even using a key to open it. This allows them to bring this key over to the main island where they can use said key to open up the box. They then do another Lil Buddy clip to activate the ink rail and beat the level. In level 4, speedrunners don't implement any skips, they just go through the level really fast. But they do some fast strategies like squid surges and throwing Lil Buddy over this wall to kill an Octarian, all to save a couple of seconds. In the Octavio boss fight, speedrunners are careful when and where to use their splashdowns. Octavio has 4 types of attacks: the fist, the spin, the palm, and the vacuum. Speedrunners use the hero shot to shoot down the fist and splashdown to take care of the spin and palm attacks. This is because splashdown can tank the armor and hit it back on the first possible second, whereas you'd have to wait for them to land to be able to shoot them back with the hero shot. As for the vacuum, that can be ignored. Octavio will jump to certain platforms during the fight that are slightly lower, making it faster to hit the fist back. This is because of the hair that we give Lil Buddy at the beginning of the run. Once Octavio has been defeated, speedrunners will close and reopen the game. This is because usually there's a long cutscene after the fight where you get sent down to Alterna. If we close and reopen the game, we can skip the cutscene. This is why we use Inkopolis Plaza as our hub world. Whenever we have to reload the game, we go to the plaza, and since it's the smallest out of all the hub worlds, we save time on load times. When we come back to Alterna, we meet the Squid Sisters and Captain 3 as we go to the first level. This is where we start to see the importance of power eggs. Power eggs allow you to break the ooze and continue on in the game, so it's very important that we have enough after every level. That means breaking these 2 balloons at the start, breaking this box, and jumping through both of these squid rings. Then once we get to 2 keys, we can perform a skip. Usually you would have to go over and complete this obstacle course to get a 3rd key to unlock all the boxes and get to the goal. But after getting the 2nd key, if you get the right angle and line up on the very edge and do a squid roll to the left, you can skip unlocking the first box, allowing you to unlock the other 2 boxes with your 2 keys and beat the level, leaving level 1 with 727 power eggs. On our way to the next level, we will get the sunken scroll from the ground. We'll be getting a lot of things from the ground during the run, like Sardinians, decorations, and CDs as they give upgrade points. You can spend these upgrade points on a skill tree. This will be very important to upgrade during the run as it gives you buffs that we don't want to miss out on. Then we enter level 2 and we're already out of there. This is the shortest level in the run and the last. Then we make this jump from the kettle to the ledge above and make a beeline from the world exit, getting a Sardidium and power eggs off the ground as we go. In order to get to the next world without using power eggs, speedrunners do this very tight jump to just barely get across. Then the next skip in the run takes place, Deep Cut cutscene skip. Usually before entering World 2, you'd have to watch this long cutscene where Deep Cut introduce themselves, but we can skip that. By swimming forward right after the fuzzball hitbox disappears at a certain angle, we can bypass the cutscene trigger and go straight to Site 2. I want to give shoutouts to Adept CS and Alpha Omega for helping me to understand some of the more technical parts of the run. If you want to start speedrunning Splatoon, the link to the community Discord will be in the description. In Site 2, speedrunners will pick up some ground loot and open up level 2-3. Once they get the Sardinium, they will start upgrading their hero gear. They get special charge up and better hero shot, as those two are the most important upgrades in the whole game. They then spend more time going around the site collecting power eggs that just barely have enough to skip playing any actual levels and go straight to the boss fight against Fry. The Fry boss fight is filled with RNG. In phase 1, she can either go for this dash attack or go for the vision attack. Speedrunners will want to get the vision attack because it saves a few seconds. In phase 2, Fry spawns eels to attack the runner, and it's completely RNG how many will spawn. She can spawn a range of 3 to 6 eels. In the world record, they get 4. In phase 3, speedrunners will use a splashdown to try and clear as many eels as they can in one go. In the world record, they get a very quick 1 cycle. Just like that, Fry has been defeated and it's off to Site 3. In Site 3, they carefully navigate themselves around the fuzzy ink and grab a bunch of collectibles off the ground. Then we'll utilize a technique called a level jump. Once you've opened the kettle for a level, you can super jump to it at any time. So if we jump off the map and unlock this kettle right here, we can respawn and jump to that kettle to skip using power eggs to remove some fuzzy ooze. We are now at the end of the site with only a wall of fuzzy ooze stopping us from getting to Site 4. But we can actually skip this by doing a trick called Moxie Skip. By carefully dying near the back of the fuzzy ooze, we can trick the game into respawning us in front of the kettle. This allows us to leave the site with 302 power eggs and no levels played. At the start of Site 4, speedrunners will jump off the map to respawn in the middle of the area, saving just a few seconds. They then go around the whole site doing the collectible hunt, even doing a level jump and a tight squid roll to bypass removing the fuzzy ooze. They then perform a trick called Shiver Clip, where they use this collectible to clip into the wall so then they can unlock the Shiver boss fight without destroying the fuzzy ooze. This leads us into the hardest trick of the run, Shiver Skip. In the Shiver boss fight, by luring Master Mega to lock onto you to do his bite attack, then by squid rolling right on the edge as he jumps up to bite you, you get sent way up in the air. But hold on, how are you flying? It's a result of your state getting locked from the game initially thinking that you're in range of Master Mega's attack. But with the roll, you have enough speed to get out of the range of the bite before it occurs, meaning that the game doesn't unlock your state until you splash down. Since the goal is always loaded in, once we get to the platform, we can beat the boss. But once that's all done, we can move on to Site 5 with 1902 power eggs. Site 5 is the shortest site in the entire run, as it only lasts a minute, but that doesn't mean there isn't anything cool. There are a lot of tight jumps in order to make it through the site without spending power eggs, including Owen Skip, where you have to precisely gush a squid roll mega jump onto a speck of ink that the fuzzy ooze just barely doesn't cover. But once we're in Site 6, this is where the fruits of our labor pay off, as all that time running around the sites getting power eggs will be used here. As we have 1202 power eggs entering the site, it just barely gives us enough to clear all the necessary fuzzy ooze to be able to get to the big man boss fight, and with 2 power eggs to spare. In the boss fight, Big Man turns into a manta ray from Mario Sunshine, and you have to try and find where the real one is. Most players would have the sensor upgrade by this point, where it will help you find where the real Big Man is. Doing this fight without the sensor would usually be very painful because then it's just impossible to tell where the real Big Man is and you would just have to guess. But Big Man's patterns are actually decided by which little buddy haircut you pick at the beginning of the game. So now it's just a matter of learning his pattern and beating him up. Once speedrunners beat Big Man and collect the last bit that we need, they will close and exit the game once again to skip a long cutscene. Now it's time for the final part of the game, the rocket. Usually when we go to the rocket, Deep Cut will yet again stop us with a big long cutscene like in Site 1, but we can do a trick called Nether Skip to bypass it. By going right at the beginning and inking this wall, speedrunners can barely stay on it and perform a squid surge to gain extra height to land on the area above. This skips the cutscene trigger and allows them to go straight to the rocket sequence. In a normal playthrough, this section requires the player to complete 6 main parts of the rocket before a big boss fight at the end. But in a speedrun, we only have to do 3. After completing the first section normally, you're sent to this place outside the rocket. This is where we could do a trick called switch skip. If you've watched any of my mod playthroughs, then you are definitely used to this. By breaking these 2 boxes and then precisely squid rolling onto this pole, the game makes you keep going up the pole. If you hold left near the top, then you can land on this area you're not normally supposed to get to. Then by using these boxes to walk across the area and falling down in this particular place, you will start walking on air until you drop down and boom, you've skipped half of the rocket sequence. Now all that's left to do is the last 2 sections before the final boss. There's still one trick to talk about though. Section 6 makes you use the zipcaster special to grab these energy cells to power the rocket. But by zipcasting into this wall whilst a cutscene of a new section opening up plays, you'll get pushed out of bounds. Then all you have to do is use the zipcaster from the outside and carefully zipping to random invisible walls to make it to the final boss. After an encounter with Mr. Grizz, it's time to go into space and show him what we're made of. This is one of the most stressful moments in the speedrun because of how tight your movement has to be and knowing that one wrong jump ruins your chances of the world record. But thankfully for us, Salt29YO shows us how to beat Mr. Grizz in style.
落ち着けマジで落ち着け。いやもう大声。よっしゃ来た
And just like that, Splatoon 3 has been beaten in 53 minutes and 50 seconds. If you enjoyed the breakdown, please subscribe to the channel, as that lets me know that you want more Splatoon speedrunning content. I also do speedruns and my own mod challenges on twitch.tv/Ethan_Stone_. Speaking of mod challenges, if you want to see me beat Splatoon 3 with a gun, then click this video right here.